At what point do you think that society or humanity needs to take a step back and start to view issues on a more global scale?
I think it'll only happen when it gets too bad. That's when people actually start to question things.
Yeah. Do you think that's a good thing?
No, it's not. But it's probably never going to change because that's the way people are.
So do you think that you'll wait till it's too late?
Probably.
Okay, so thanks for talking to me. My first question is, would you consider yourself to be an environmentalist?
Probably not, because I haven't thought much about it.
Yeah. So you think it's lack of education then?
Yes.
Do you think that climate change is real?
Yes.
And what makes you think that climate change is an issue?
I don't know. I don't know much about it.
Yeah.
So I couldn't say, but I mean, science tells you it is.
Yeah.
So I'm going to agree with science.
And I think science is quite often right, isn't it? Like, certainly in these sort of situations. What would you consider to be the leading cause of climate change?
I have no idea.
Do you think it's like, I think a lot of people think it's maybe just due to transport, like fossil fuel consumption.
Probably is.
Yeah. Do you think there's any other factors involved?
Just modern day, really. Like everyone's making everything, it's mass produced, so that's probably not going to help the environment.
Like this huge industrialization that we have, and like everything's on like a mass scale.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think a lot of people find this quite surprising, but the leading cause of climate change, or at least in greenhouse gas emissions and things like that, is to do with animal agriculture. Have you ever heard of that before? Like the fact that animal agriculture contributes to that?
I haven't.
Do you think that, do you see that making sense? Do you think the industrialisation of factory farming could be having a negative impact on the environment?
Probably, because it is increasing a lot, so yeah.
And I think because we farm like billions and billions of animals every year, it's only natural that lots of methane will be produced and CO2 emissions, Hi, so my first question is, do you believe in climate change?
Yeah.
Would you consider yourselves to be environmentalists?
As guilty as I feel about it, I'd say no, probably.
Okay, What about
I probably wouldn't label myself, but no, I probably wouldn't say environment.
And what are your reasons for that, do you think?
As horrible as it sounds, probably ignorance is bliss. I don't feel educated on the subject enough to... I probably should, you're making me feel bad, but yeah.
Do you think there's kind of a willful ignorance in society where people don't want to think about the damage that they're causing?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Same with a lot of things, really, isn't it?
Yeah.
But yeah, probably.
Yeah. What about yourself?
I probably just don't do much for the environment, so that's why I wouldn't say I'm an environmentalist.
Yeah.
Yeah, probably it's ignorant. It's not through choice. It's just one of the things you sort of get used to, isn't it?
Yeah. And what do you guys think about the leading cause of climate change? What do you reckon that is? What do you reckon the leading cause of climate change is?
Maybe industrialisation, because we're becoming more industrial and we're advancing further.
Yeah.
And so as we're getting more technologically advanced, we're bringing more damage.
Absolutely, yeah. And what
I think you're on YouTube, aren't you?
Yeah.
Animal agriculture is the answer, isn't it?
Yeah. Amazing. Okay.
I've been trying vegan gains, familiar?
Yeah.
I've been trying to shift into veganism for the past 3 weeks, and it's very hard.
Well, I'm really impressed though. That's a good answer. It's good that you know that. So you're not really that ignorant, are you? Like you are aware.
Where do you get firm tofu from?
Anywhere. Like
it's all just soft tofu.
The stuff from Sainsbury's is soft stuff. It's crap in it.
Awful.
Yeah, you can get the firm stuff in like Holland and Barrett's.
But yeah, no, I recognise it. I've seen one of your videos. Yeah.
How do you think about it? Like, what do you feel? Which one was it, if you don't mind me asking?
It was, I'm not sure. You were talking to a guy about, it might have been slavery, I want to say.
I did want to hear about slavery,
no, but that's where the ignorance is bliss coming from. Before I knew about the suffering of animals, I was happy to eat meat, and now it makes you feel guilty. I'm
a vegan, I'm really impressed that you've kind of made that decision, because I was going to kind of bring it on to animal agriculture, because not many people are aware that animal agriculture is the leading cause of climate change. Methane and just carbon dioxide emissions and nitrous oxide emissions as well.
Yeah,
that comes from cows and livestock as well as transportation.
Probably the biggest impact. I don't know. I presume you, but I imagine the biggest impact you can make.
It is. Well, have you heard of Cowspiracy before?
I've seen the documentary.
Right, so you are aware of some of the things in it,
Yeah, no, that really opens your eyes. Earthlings as well.
You've seen
that? Yeah, that's horrific. I made it halfway through. It's horrible to say.
It's bad, right?
It's awful.
I remember after I watched it, I was shell shocked. I didn't know how to feel, and I felt so guilty. And
really bad.
That was the film that made me go vegan in the first place.
Really?
And then Cowspiracy really helped me, because I didn't know about the environment when I went vegan, and then I found out.
Would you? Because you just think, it's cars.
Exactly. It's fossil fuels. Have you ever heard of a film called Cowspiracy?
I haven't.
Basically, it's about what I was saying about the fact that animal agriculture is responsible for like the most leading cause of environmental degradation. How does that make you feel? Like, as someone, do you consume animal products?
I do.
And do you think that are you concerned about climate change?
Kind of. I mean, you have to be slightly concerned by it, but if you're concerned by everything, then you're just going to be...
There's a lot to be concerned about, right?
All the time.
I think we've got to prioritise things, haven't we?
Yes.
Because there is a lot to be concerned about.
Yeah.
Do you do anything in your like day-to-day life to make yourself more environmentally conscious?
I recycle.
Yeah.
That's about it, really.
Yeah. Why do you recycle then?
It's an easy thing to do. That's like a small contribution.
So you think that? Yeah, I agree. Like, not many people do recycle, not enough people, and I think people try and do it because they think they're doing something good for the environment. Would you think that we should be trying to treat the core problems with environmental damage? Like, should we be going for the big guns like fossil fuels and animal agriculture to reduce the problems?
Probably yes, because that'd get a lot done quicker.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Do you think that you would ever consider reducing your animal consumption to negate the climate change?
Probably not. Because, yeah, it's just easier not to, and it's easier not to think about it.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
I guess it's kind of that convenience idea you were saying again. It's easy to recycle, but it's not easy to change your diet, is it?
Yeah.
Like, what do you think is maybe the biggest cause of climate change or global warming?
Could you say pollution?
Yeah, pollution,
I'd say that, yeah.
So like fossil fuel consumption and that's what we're told about a lot, isn't it?
Yeah.
What about yourself?
I think the same.
Same, yeah. I think that's quite a common idea. Have you ever heard about animal agriculture being like a leading cause of global warming?
Never.
No. It's weird that no one ever knows about that, but actually animal agriculture is responsible for more global warming than any other industry combined. More than fossil fuels, more than cars, all transport system combined. Why do you think that we're not told about that? Tough question,
think,
yeah.
Yes, I don't know how to answer that question.
Do you think that maybe there's like invested interests in maybe like the animal agriculture industry, like the cattle industry and the egg and dairy industries, that maybe they don't want us to know the truth?
Yeah, that would make sense, to be honest.
What is it do you think why do they want to hide that from us, do you think?
I don't know, they hide a lot, to be fair. Like, there's a lot of stuff we don't know, so...
What sort of things do they hide from us then?
How stuff is made, a lot of the time. That's like the main thing.
Is that something that you're worried about then, the fact that they hide stuff? Yeah, why? Yeah.
Well, you have a right to know what's in your
food?
Yeah, how you're living,
Yeah. So it's something that, so as well as the environmental stuff, as well as like the ethical side of animal agriculture that you've maybe thought about before? Yeah. So have you seen like the footage that they hide from us or the undercover investigations? Have you seen them before?
No.
Are you ever interested in watching them, or do you try and hide yourself from it?
Bit of both.
Bit of both.
There's stuff you want to know, and then there's stuff you'd rather not know.
I think as a society we're all very aware that they hide like the cruelty from us and the environmental destruction from us, but we're also very comfortable with what we are doing, aren't we? We like our lives to be kept to like in a convenient level. So when this idea that we could watch something that maybe would upset that or maybe change the way that we view the foods that we're eating, we kind of like shove it away, don't we, and try and hide it so we don't actually have to be confronted. It's kind of like a willful ignorance. Do you think that something like climate change is more important than convenience?
Yes, but a lot of things are more important than convenience.
What else is more important, do you think?
Just everyday life, really.
Yeah.
Like, you can't think about it every day.
Yeah. So do you think that maybe we should try and do things on the day-to-day to help situations?
Probably, yes. It'd be a lot easier.
So what would be holding you back apart from like a convenience issue?
I can't stop eating meat if everyone else around me's eating it, because
so it's like a
I
society
don't
thing.
cook it myself necessarily, so yeah.
So it's like your society tells us it's okay to eat meat,
Yeah.
and therefore it's much easier for us to kind of like fall into that idea that it's okay to do so, even though necessarily we think that maybe it could be destructive to the environment, which we think is something that we should be concerned about.
Yeah.
It's really challenging, isn't it?
Yeah.
It is, isn't it? Because there's a whole like ethical side to eating meat, and I don't know how you feel about the ethics of it as well, but I think environment is something that is really critical because it's affecting everyone on the planet, and it's not like when we consume meat and we kill the animals for meat, we affect the animal, but it's not necessarily affecting us in the same way. But when we consume meat, the fact that it's affecting us on a global scale can be quite alarming to people. Like, do you think that our consumption of meat is worth destroying the planet?
No, it's not.
Yeah.
But, I mean, if one person stops, then the whole world isn't going to stop and it's not going to change anything.
Yeah.
And I think that's what most people think.
So it's like this idea that we feel quite helpless, like one person can't make a difference.
Yeah.
Do you think that if everyone had this idea, nothing would change? Like, if we talk about other things that have happened in the past, like maybe women's votes or gay rights or black rights, if maybe Martin Luther King had said, well, I'm only one person, I can't make a difference, how do you think that, did he make a difference?
Nothing would have changed,
Right.
and he did make a difference.
Yeah.
But yeah,
So do you think that maybe one person can make a difference?
probably if one person's like a figurehead of something
Yeah.
and they stand for something strong like Martin Luther King did,
Yeah.
but I mean nobody's doing that right now for that.
For the animal agriculture ban. Which
Yeah.
means, I guess it means that maybe there's someone out there that should start doing it. Or
Yeah.
maybe we don't need figureheads anymore. Maybe that sort of idea is past now. And as a society, if we start implementing change on an individual level, we can start to make real change on like a bigger global level.
Yes, that would probably work
Yeah.
if enough people were doing it.
Were you aware that animal agriculture
I wasn't, no.
How does that make you feel? Like?
I don't really know. I don't know much about it. I probably would want to research it more
Yeah.
to then have some sort of like emotional connection with it or
Yeah.
tell a reaction.
Yeah.
But I don't really know. Wouldn't be so
You were saying earlier that like climate change wasn't something that you were like hugely bothered about.
Yeah, I am bothered about it. I just don't
Yeah.
know much. I'm not involved with it. I mean, I don't know if you know CAFOD.
Say that again?
CAFOD?
No, what's that?
So it's a Catholic charity.
Okay.
They have like campaigns every year, and I did climate change them last year.
Yeah.
So I know the odd bit, but I've not done too much. I'm not
Yeah.
actively involved.
Yeah.
But it was something I probably would like to know more about.
Definitely. And your friend was saying that he's kind of become a bit more aware about the suffering of animals.
Yeah.
Is that something that you've ever thought about?
Not particularly, no, if I'm being honest.
Is that something else that you feel maybe that you've been willfully ignorant
yeah.
about? Or?
I think it's something sometimes you kind of get used to it, so and you're in your own little bubble, so you don't really become aware of it unless you make yourself aware.
That's right. Yeah, I feel like society keeps a lot of information away from us about the environment and about animal agriculture, about most things. It kind of keeps it hidden from us, so we can't make informed decisions.
If it benefits them, us not knowing, then we won't know about it.
And do you think that it benefits animal agriculture us not knowing the truth?
Yeah, probably. Yeah.
Why do you think that?
I think if the government, they'll get a lot. Obviously, you get a lot of money from sort of animal agriculture. So if they don't tell people, but they don't spread a campaign, then obviously they're going to benefit. So people won't know, and people will remain ignorant.
Yeah.
So I think it'll benefit sort of maybe the government or sort of big businesses.
Yeah, absolutely, yeah. So have you ever thought about cutting down your meat consumption, or is it being pushed to the back of your mind?
Probably just the back of my mind. I don't really thought about it.
And again, that's to do with the corporations and stuff. They make us not consider that the food we eat has come from an animal that suffered. When we buy a piece of meat or we buy cheese or eggs, we don't actually think about where it's come from. We know deep down that it's from an animal that died or suffered, but we don't actually make that conscious.
Sort of cute animals, sort of not as graphic as it actually is.
Yeah. Do you think that like the number of say vegetarians and vegans is rising?
Yes, my sister is one.
What is your sister?
My sister's a vegetarian,
Yeah.
but she's not a very strong one because she still eats meat sometimes.
Like
so
a
yeah.
flexitarian type of
Yes.
thing. So like, I think if the numbers are rising, then surely that means that people are beginning to make a difference, even if it's just one person at a time.
Probably, yeah. And eventually maybe something big will happen, but just not yet.
And do you reckon that you'll wait till something big happens before you maybe consider it a bit more?
Probably, because it's kind of low on my things that I think about, admittedly. It probably shouldn't be, but it is.
Yeah, it used to be something I don't think about a lot, and I think the problem is it's such a huge scale, we can't apply it to our lives, because it feels because it's global, we can't really understand it, because we live in quite close communities as humans, don't we? So when someone's saying, well, there's floods in this part of the world, we don't really associate with that, because it doesn't affect us directly, but things that affect us directly, like the stuff that we choose to eat, is much harder to change, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. At what point do you think that society or humanity needs to take a step back and start to view issues on a more global
I think
scale?
it'll only happen when it gets too bad. That's when people actually start to question things.
Yeah. Do you think that's a good thing?
No, it's not. But it's probably never going to change because that's the way people are.
So do you think that you'll wait till it's too late?
Probably.
So
Yeah.
are you happy with the idea of waiting till it's too late?
No, but as you said, like just that one person, I feel like I can't change anything whether I stop eating meat or not. But I don't eat as much as I used to do, but I mean, it's still...
So why did you reduce your consumption?
I didn't like it as much, like I went off it, so...
Yeah, so you reduced it because you dislike the taste so much?
Yeah.
Well, that's good though. That means that you're still doing something, aren't you, by reducing it? Are you going to continue to reduce it?
Probably. It would just happen naturally. Cause
So you think that'll be because of a taste thing that you don't enjoy tasting, rather than like an environmental or an ethical reason? Yeah, but that's the start into it's not necessarily about why you get to that point. It's about getting to that point just in general.
Yeah.
It's not necessarily the reason you came to it, it's just the fact that once you get to that point, you know that you are making a difference. And I know it can feel really overpowering, I know that it can feel like one person can't make a difference, but every day that you choose to do something, you do make a difference.
Yeah. I guess.
That's
yeah.
me trying to empower you, but it's obviously like really difficult because we're so ingrained in society to think that we are helpless,
Yeah.
and that we have political, governments that dictate stuff over us. We feel helpless there. We grow up in like schools where we feel helpless because we're told what to do. It's only natural that when we get to like our adult lives or our teenage lives, we feel completely helpless because our whole lives we've been told that we are. But if we start to think that actually we do have the power to make real change that affects other people, that could be quite powerful.
It could be, yeah.
It could be.
Yeah.
Well, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
The ice cream is like melting.
Oh no,
on
I'm so
me.
sorry. Have you ever thought about the ethical concerns surrounding eating animal products? Why do you think that is? Yeah, it's tough. When you guys eat animal products like meat or dairy or eggs or anything, do you ever consider out where it's come from?
It does come across my mind sometimes,
Is
yeah.
it?
Like,
Yeah.
oh, where did that come from?
Yeah.
Oh, how was that made? Yeah.
How does that make you feel?
It's like really curious, like you want to know,
Yeah.
but you never really can.
But at the same time you try and stop yourself from finding out maybe.
Yeah.
Does it ever upset you? Well,
Yeah. Like how it's made shouldn't be tortured.
so yeah.
It should be like humane. That's
And what would be like a humane slaughter or a humane treatment, do you think?
when it grows old, kind of like let it live its life and then
Do you think that's like a possible thing to do? Like, is it sustainable? Do you think the amount of meat that society consumes is like far too much for that method?
yeah, I would say because it's bought every day
Yeah.
and you can't wait all that time.
Yeah.
But
It's what you were saying is like, you were saying that it's not really a humane way to slaughter an animal, only like letting it die at its natural causes. So is there a like, nice way to kill an animal without letting it just die, like a man-made death?
I don't know. I don't know what you could do to humanely kill an animal.
Can you kill something nicely without it wanting to die? What do you think?
Can't really do that because, I mean, meat is something that you eat every day. Like, some of my friends, they get upset by, people killing, I don't know, something for us, something for us to eat.
Yeah.
And you have to kill something.
Yeah.
And for them to do that, my friend actually turned to a vegetarian.
Oh, well, okay.
So she doesn't like how animals are treated.
Yeah.
So she just stay away from meat.
Yeah.
And but I think there is no other way for us to kill animal in a nicer way,
Yeah.
because there's no way you can do that. Even it's like killing people. It's either going to shot in the head or shot in the heart. You're still going to die,
Exactly.
but it's still going to be painful.
Yeah, that's a really good point. And I think the idea is if the animal doesn't want to die, then you can't take its life.
Yeah.
Can you humanely rape someone? Rape someone in a nice way?
Of course not.
So can you kill someone in a nice way? So the idea of humane rape's a bit of a contradiction, really, and humane slaughter, is a bit of a contradiction.
Yeah.
Yeah.